This is a Glass Box Media podcast.
Welcome to My Worst Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina. And welcome to cuffing season.
Yeah,
I know we are on our way there. I do feel like it's starting to cool off in LA. Like it hadn't been.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd been like 100 degrees like 2 weeks ago.
So hot.
And I even went to the pool last week and just like laid out in the sunshine. But it is, I feel like, starting to get that like fall feeling in the air. There's like this like crispness.
Yeah.
And it's also starting to get dark early. I mean, like, dark earlier in the evening.
It's getting cooler in the evenings. I've noticed less mosquitoes, thank God for that. So that's been good.
Been sleeping with my windows open.
Me too.
Oh, I love it.
It's so nice. I'm at that stage now where I'm like, I need the cool, but I don't want to be like fully under my comforter. So I'm sleeping with the window open and a fan in the window, but then just a top sheet. And I'm like, it's perfect.
Wonderful.
It's like the perfect amount of like...
Yeah. And a top sheet has like when it's like it's cool, has a little bit of a crispness to it. You know what I mean? Like,
I love it. It's the best. And I do feel like we're heading into like fall drinks. I just had pumpkin spice oatmeal this morning.
Oh, nice.
We're on our way.
Yes. Lots of apple, lots of pumpkin. But I found this article from HuffPost about 8 dating app profile mistakes you should avoid now that cuffing season has arrived.
Perfect.
And so I figure maybe we can go through it. I feel like we can identify if we've had bad dates that or like stories that have come from these things, or just see if there's one that surprises us. So we got mistake number 1, not including enough information on your profile. That is like the number 1 mistake. If something's important to you, like you're super into religion or something that is truly important to you,
you got to put that shit down.
That's an all season rule. Like
Honestly.
you should just be doing that, period.
Yeah.
Like just, can we stop it? Like there is such a thing though as sharing too much information. We got tagged in something on TikTok and I took some screenshots from it where it was like people's bios, like the front page of their bios. I don't know. Clearly I'm not somebody who's ever been on the apps. I'm like the front page. But the first thing that you see when it comes up, and it's like, sometimes people are like really explicit immediately.
right off the gate.
Yeah, I think one of them said, I want to wine, dine, and 69 you.
Okay.
And
Oh,
I'm
that
like,
seems tame. You definitely haven't been on the
no,
apps.
but I'm just like, that shouldn't be on your first page,
Oh,
right?
honey, the amount of people that throw out the like, I want to be face first in your pussy.
Yep.
Like legit explicit shit.
I mean, I guess
right
points,
off the gate.
I guess points for coming out with it so that I know.
Right. True.
But yeah.
But I mean, I remember Christina sometimes when we did like the swipe for you, I mean, there'd be like, it's not even a profile. Like, it's just like nothing, barely anything at all.
Yeah, yeah. Or there's that woman on TikTok who goes through people's profiles and her whole thing is like, then pick a different prompt, because so many times they'll pick a prompt
Just
and then they'll be
ask
like,
me.
just ask me. And it's like, what? No, the whole purpose of this is so that I can know before I'm stuck at a restaurant with you having a glass of wine.
If you're too lazy to fill out a profile to try to find somebody to seriously date, you're showing me a red flag right off the top. You're showing me that you're going to be the lowest of effort.
And you picked the prompt.
Yeah.
Like you could have selected something easier.
That's right.
All right. Mistake number 2, being too negative.
Well, that'll get me. I'm suspicious of everybody.
Stuff like, don't contact me if you don't like pets.
Oh, geez.
If you like Trump, don't even bother. No, I think that's actually, I beg to differ, because I feel
I want to know that.
Yeah. What am I going to end up on a date with somebody who's categorically opposite?
Yeah. We're ideologically opposed. I mean, I feel like those 2 points are actually kind of counter to each other, because it's like you are like, you need to be out with things on your profile, but also if there are deal breakers, those should be on your profile.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I feel like somebody whose worldview is completely different than yours.
I guess maybe they're just saying that the way that in which you state those facts doesn't have to be like aggressively negative. I
That's
don't
exactly.
know.
Instead
Yeah.
of wasting characters on what you don't want, describe what you do want.
I guess that's
There you
fair.
go. That makes
Okay.
sense. Right. So like I'm looking for somebody who's Christian and loves Trump.
All right. Mistake number 3, including details that are inaccurate or misleading.
Well, obvious.
Yeah,
Again,
don't lie.
That's an all season situation. Like we've talked about that many times. Like if you say you are 6'2" and you are 5'9",
we're
gonna know.
We're gonna know.
I'm gonna know. I'm gonna know immediately.
Mistake number 4, using old or misleading photos.
Same thing as the
Again,
last
it's
point.
like, don't lie.
That's a lie.
Yeah, you're going to be found out. You're not going to magically look like you did 10 years ago. No matter how many times and how many spells I try to cast on myself.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Do you think 100% of the time these people are being deliberately deceptive, or do you think that there are people out there who really can't see that they don't look like they did 10 years ago? Like, 'cause I think some people are really like blind to the fact that like you have aged, like you don't look the same.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
do. Because sometimes I will be like, oh yeah, I look this, I don't look that different. And then I'll look at pictures of myself from 19 and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. I think most people are being deceptive.
Yeah.
And also it's saying something to me if you don't have recent pictures too. Like I know Eric, for instance, doesn't have, like, he doesn't take selfies of himself or
No.
whatever,
Right.
but he goes and he does things and other people have taken pictures with him in it and stuff. So therefore he has recent pictures. So like
Right.
get out there and
Right.
do things
Yeah.
that
And even
are
if
photograph.
even if you're not, like, even if you, I mean, you should be out doing stuff. That's, I mean, for your own sake, I think that's a good thing to be doing. But even outside of that, if you know you're going on a dating app, have a friend take some pictures of you.
Right.
Like, that's, go out for a day, go hiking, have your friend take some pictures, something. Like, you
Right.
know that you
go
need
fishing,
recent-
get that fish
get
pic.
that fish pic.
Yep.
Yeah. Go on a hunting trip.
Oh my God, that fish drama on TikTok was
What?
Oh,
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't know what this is, and I
Are
keep
you talking
seeing
about the
people
guy who
talk about
cheated?
it.
yeah, the guy
fishing.
that put like this fishing competition. I guess these people have won like a bunch of
Like,
competitions.
this
and
competition was for $30,000.
Oh, wow.
and they
That's a
cut
lot of money
open
in
the fish and found lead weights in it. So they had cheated to make the fish weigh more so that they can win.
These guys were gonna
and I
murder
thought
this man.
They were gonna die.
I did
the
too.
outrage of a whole bunch of fishermen like
No.
getting.
You know what? That
These
actually-
people have won like tons
Millions,
of money throughout
millions of dollars.
millions
Yeah.
throughout the years.
Yeah,
The
that,
guy-
that tracks for me, actually. Fishermen, I'm like, yeah, there's an aggression there. I've seen like Deadliest Catch or
Well, they were
whatever.
like they said like the fish like weight difference between the fish that was like at the top at the time was like 16 pounds, and then this fish was like 30 pounds or whatever. And it's
They're
like,
like,
really double this weight? Like that doesn't even make sense. So that's why they gutted it open. They were like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, if
Right.
you're gonna cheat, at
Yeah.
least cheat smart. But that makes sense. The outrage of fishermen makes sense to me. Whenever there was that cheating scandal that was happening in the chess community,
Okay.
Oh,
Listen.
it's still coming. It's still
the
there's.
chess community is so mad.
I didn't even know. I'm like,
They said
of
that he had
course
something
they
up his
cheated.
butt or something.
There was like they can play like online, and apparently like there's a way to like cheat online. It just goes by the honor code. They're like, don't like look
do
up
it.
moves that you can do to win or something. I don't know, but yeah, the Norwegian chess guy just quit. The U.S. guy, the whole thing.
Yeah, there's
So
a lot of drama in the chess community.
Chess and fishing, man. Oof.
mistake number 5: having too many group shots and not enough solo shots.
I agree.
I agree, because I don't want to
Who
be
are you?
questioning which one you are. I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't know you.
I don't
Unless
want to be disappointed thinking that you swiped on like your hot
Especially-
friend.
Especially
Oh,
the
no, I
people
thought it was
who
this
do
guy.
this never have diverse friend groups
That's
ever.
exact-
Like
I
it's
was just
always
about
like
to say that.
all of them are like Chads and Trevors who like blonde or brunette in like shorts, like yacht shorts, like all of them, and you're just like, I
Just out with
don't
the boys.
know. Yeah, Saturdays are for the boys. You're like,
Who is it?
Having a couple to show me that you have a social life is fine.
Yeah.
But make sure that there are solo photos.
Yeah. Maybe draw an arrow to yourself.
Yeah.
And be like,
I'm
me.
this one. Yeah.
Right.
Mistake number 6, choosing unflattering photos.
Oh, we talked about that on our
It's
bonus
fun.
video.
People shooting from down here.
Yeah.
Getting the whole up.
the nose shot.
Yeah. Don't, if it looks like you are a 57-year-old man who took this picture at night in low lighting in a recliner.
Oh my
Because
God.
it always looked like they took him in a recliner, like low angle.
But these angle ones are going out of fashion
The high
too.
angle.
The super high angle.
Yes.
From,
They are now calling it the mom angle, which
Yep.
I resent deeply as a child-free adult.
But I mean,
Wow.
it really was a MySpace generation thing, and all
Yeah.
those people were pretty much like of mom age for sure.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we've had this conversation many times, but I stand by that angle is flattering, and that's why people do it.
Also, it says avoid shots that show your messy room and mirror selfies you took in the bathroom. And
Does anyone
Yeah.
do that anymore?
Oh,
Like the mirror selfie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
it's
You don't need to.
You don't
like
need to.
we did that because we there was no other way. There was
Right.
no other way. Like to get a full body shot that you're taking
That's
of
right.
yourself.
Right.
You had to do that. Like now cameras have come a long way.
Yeah.
We don't need to do,
do
that
something
anymore.
different. Set
Yeah.
a timer up or something.
Especially
or get a
dirty
friend.
mirrors.
Yeah,
Like
dirty
when the mirrors
mirrors.
are dirty. There's like
Dirty room
And you
behind
show
you.
your
Yeah.
dirty bathroom or
yeah,
something.
your
Oh
toilet
my
lids
God.
open.
The number of times where it's like the pictures where you're like shit in the bath, like you said, in the shower, and you're like, what in the fuck?
Yeah.
Did they
I don't
not?
need to see this, and it's all streaked. You know, you're like, oh no. All right, mistake number 7, telling rather than showing. For example, it's better to show that you're funny by sharing an amusing story or detail than to tell people you're funny by stating it in your profile.
Okay.
Okay. I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Take a critical eye to your written bio and prompts and replace generalizations or abstract claims with stories and granular details. So it's like your resume.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the same detail that you're doing for your resume with specific things, you want to apply that to your dating app, which is a resume for your for yourself. So I was going to say something dirty, then change my mind. Mistake number 8, taking your profile's performance too personally. This is really good, actually. It's really easy to get demoralized on the apps. It definitely is. You get that dopamine hit when you get that match. It's definitely designed to keep you swiping.
How could you not take it personally?
Yeah.
You know, because it is like your profile is you. Like
Right.
it's all about you.
Well, it is the same way your social media is you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not really you. Someone that is following your social media account doesn't know
you.
who you are. And that's
Well, in
the
fairness,
same.
I take that shit personally too. I take it personally.
I know, and it's
Yeah.
it's hard, but something I think maybe being on the apps taught me how to separate that, or made me have to separate that in order to not take it personally and being like, that person didn't like my online persona, which is close to myself. I don't lie online or whatever, but no one's going to know the nuance of you, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And they don't, like you said, they don't know you. They
Right.
don't know you. And honestly, great. There's so many people who will like me.
Yeah.
It's
And
literally like
Also,
one person.
9.9 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with you.
Right.
Like the reason why they're like quote unquote ghost or reject or whatever is all about what the fuck is going on with them
That's right.
inside their head. So yeah, it's definitely difficult not to take it personally, but
Yeah, it's hard when you want everyone to like you all the time. It's very tricky.
yeah.
Because you can't please everybody, but there's a little piece of me in the back of my head that's like,
You can do it.
maybe you can, but maybe you can.
Oh man, you
sure?
cannot.
No, you cannot.
I tell you what, like, yeah, a lot of people are going to come at you with a lot of different stuff. The most that you can do is just stay true to yourself, and it'll work out. The person you're going
fine.
to be with for the rest of your life is sitting right where you're sitting right now. So that's whose opinion matters the most.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to lie to you. I did zone out for a second there thinking about the mirror selfies I have taken. Because in truth, actually, just full disclosure, because I know somebody's listening who's like, I've seen some of your like Instagram story posts. I've definitely like trying to show an outfit off, taken a mirror selfie.
Yeah.
before.
Oh, I've taken a mirror selfie. I've taken a mirror
put that
selfie.
caveat before people come
I've
for
done
me.
the mom angle.
Yeah.
Like all the time.
Guilty of all of the above.
All of it. All of it. No.
The only thing I'm not guilty of is taking a picture and having a dirty background.
Yeah. I don't think I've done that, at least not since MySpace existed. Like
Right.
maybe whenever I was like a teenager, there might have been something like that, but definitely not as an adult. No. My background is curated.
Yes.
Like you're seeing what I want you to see.
That's exactly
100%.
right.
I move shit out of the way.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, I think those are good. Not just for cuffing season, but just in general, if you're going to be on the apps.
Yeah.
And I know they're trying a whole bunch of different things now. Like I saw a lot of them are offering speed dating games that you can get into. Cause I think after the pandemic and things opening up, there's been like a whole bunch of people got on the apps and now are like going off of them again now that you can go out into the real world.
Sure.
So if you guys have played any of the games, I know Bumble is doing speed dating in the UK, testing it out.
Ooh, I would
and
love to see that.
Tinder's doing something. And then there's another big app I saw called Thursdays, which is like it's almost like coffee meets bagel. I think it's like designed to go and meet people. Just don't be on the apps. Like go out and meet people.
Actually,
that's fun.
that I think is
And Thursdays are a
appealing.
great day to do it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's appealing to me. If we were at at a coffee shop or something where it's just like, we know we're going into this blind, we're under no obligation to like each other. Because I feel like sometimes when I don't know, I feel like there's two sides to it, because when you're on the apps for a long time and you're developing a relationship with somebody and you are talking back and forth for a while, then there's this pressure when you meet to like each other.
Sure.
Whereas like if you don't know anything about each other, I feel like you can just kind of go in and be like, we both know what this is, right? There's like no pressure. We can both just be like, well, we did
Shake
that.
hands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And now we're done.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as it goes into cuffing season, just release the pressure from yourself and try to have fun as much as you can.
Yeah.
Because it can be fun.
Yeah. This is going to be a weird cuffing season, if I'm honest. I think that because we've been locked down for like 2.5 years.
Right.
I think if I'm honest, just the general vibe I get of the dating scene currently, I don't know that anybody wants to get tied down with anybody right now.
It feels
Right?
feels like the apocalypse is coming.
Yeah.
So
The
true.
vibes are
The
weird.
vibes are very
The-
Mad Max.
Yeah, people do not know how to act
No.
at all. Like truly don't know how to act at all. As we saw when we went to go see Smile, which is the only one, that's the only benefit. You remember like when I first went to see a movie, the first movie I saw post lockdown, and I got on this podcast and I was like, what happened? People were taking off their shoes. People were like straddling each other in the theater. And I was like, people don't know how to act and I hate it. And same thing on planes. The only place where that feels okay is when you're at a theater and you're watching a horror movie. Because you're like, I love it that nobody gives a fuck anymore. It's like we're in your living room. Everybody's screaming at the screen.
Yeah.
So
Don't do it.
Don't go back there. But I know, Christina, this kind of leads me into something. You don't love horror movies, specifically like supernatural horror movies, because you're afraid you're going to bring that juju into your house.
That's right.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. So the new Hocus Pocus movie just came out on Disney Plus.
I feel like there's already drama around it.
Oh yeah. There are people online, and it's going a bit viral, who are saying not to watch Hocus Pocus 2 because you are unleashing hell into your home.
Okay.
That
All right.
these
There is a
witches-
very different Hocus Pocus 2 versus something like Hereditary or Sinister. I feel like there's a vast chasm here.
Right. So there's this woman. Her name
already.
is Jamie Gooch. She's a Texas mom.
No.
I feel like I can picture her in
Yep,
my head
I already
right
see
now.
it.
She's got
blonde hair.
Yeah, blonde. It's some thick highlights.
Yes,
I feel
yes.
like. So she is saying that. Quote, a worst case scenario is that you unleash hell on your kids and in your home.
Oh my God.
Don't unleash hell on your kids.
What a bummer.
It grieves me, the thought of exposing our kids to darkness.
Okay.
It's Yeah. And then she says,
Fun at parties.
there's no such thing as just a movie. I believe whatever comes in our TV screens, there are things attached to that. I've seen for myself the things I watched with my eyes or heard over the TV screen. They become manifested in real life. Everybody thinks it's fake and innocent, but they could be casting any type of spell that they want to. Anything could be coming through the TV screen into your home.
Okay.
Get
No.
a fucking life.
Yeah.
Stop
I'm
it. It's a
listen,
kid's movie.
It is a child's.
It's giving me Harry Potter when it came out vibes.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like where like all kinds of churches were like, it's witchcraft. Don't let your kids. This is a ploy by Satan.
Hope my kids, my future hypothetical kids, will be witches. I would prefer them to be witches than some of the other things that these people are.
There are worst case scenarios.
There are
Yeah,
very much worst case scenarios, and I've met some pretty down as fuck cool ass witches
Yep.
that do great things with themselves and with the world. And as far as I know, there haven't been any massacres or child molestations or changing laws to restrict other people's bodies in their name. But
I'm sorry, what? Do go
said
on.
what I said.
No, go for it. I'm saying, tell me more.
the vibes have just been super weird. Like, I think maybe Cassie shared it to one of our group chats or somebody did.
Yeah.
The person who's just like, you also can't trust these houses because there's fentanyl in the candy or there's
Oh,
like
God.
heroin in the candy. And it's just like, have you ever met someone who does
No
drugs
one's
who
giving
wants to
drugs
give
for free.
free drugs
My
away?
dude.
To kids?
And it was like an interview. It was and the guy was like, so you're saying that the people who live in your neighborhood, the houses that you're taking the kids to, are putting drugs in? Yeah. And then she was like, illegals. So
They have
people
houses.
are illegals
And lots of money for extra drugs.
yes.
Yeah. And then there was another woman.
Just didn't like, she was like in a loop of nonsense.
Yeah, it made no sense. And then there
None.
was another woman last year to go along the lines with this, and I feel like it's come up last year and then again this year, where she was saying that you shouldn't take your kids trick or treating because witches could be casting spells over
For
the candy.
Oh my God.
And then
I saw that TikTok.
and then your kids eat the candy and now they're cursed or something.
Wow.
So PSA, just
But
so
here's-
everybody knows.
Here's my thing. It's so funny to me. Like, so you guys believe in witchcraft then?
Oh, I think they definitely do. Yeah.
That's so weird to me.
But that's always been, I mean, even like the witch hunts that happened way back in Salem time, it was all because it was like linked to the devil.
Yeah,
it was like
to
associated
religion.
with,
yeah,
Yeah.
I see.
Uh-huh.
The devil.
but it's always
That
the
guy.
devil. It's always that guy.
Oh my gosh. Well, who should we fuck, marry, kill for this?
I think we should fuck, marry, kill devils.
Devils.
Oh,
I
like
mean,
people that have portrayed the devil?
I claim Elizabeth Hurley.
Oh,
Sorry, Basha.
Good.
good one.
Good one.
You stole it from me.
Well, you've been watching Lucifer, so you got Tom Ellis.
Oh, hot.
All right, I'll pick
Extremely hot.
Lucifer.
Gwendolyn Christie just played Lucifer in Sandman.
yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
And she's
Awesome.
from
Game of Thrones.
Yes,
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh,
Okay.
She was
Amazing.
tall, regal, angelic Lucifer.
Oh,
She's
goddamn.
beautiful in the cover art for
Love it.
Sandman. She looks stunning. I think she's one of those people who, when I see them on the red carpet, I'm like, you are from another world. Like you look
Yeah.
like you're from another like planet in a great way.
They made her like almost 8 feet tall when they filmed it, so she just like looms like large over.
And she's over 6 foot in
yeah.
real life.
And so she
right?
had these
Yeah.
enormous wings. It was really cool. So okay,
All right.
Oh, that's a great
The
mix.
devil.
They're very different
They
devils.
are.
Very different devils. Oh,
Ugh.
I mean,
I
This
think I
one's
do.
hard. I don't know who I want to marry.
that's where it's a little difficult
Like
for
a
me.
whole lifetime of the trickster, which is Elizabeth Hurley. It's like
I feel like I'd
a
get
lot
tired.
of tricks and
No.
pranks and stuff. I'm like
Loopholes. I'm
can
always
you-
having to second guess everything they're
can you fucking
saying.
Just
Take
take
me
it serious.
seriously. Just
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, I can't marry her. I think I'm gonna fuck her though.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna fuck Elizabeth Hurley. Like,
Oh, yeah.
especially in Bedazzled,
Are
she's
you
at her
kidding?
hottest.
The hottest.
She's like unreal in that movie. And I do think that personality is fun for a night out. Like
Yeah.
she you're going to be real tired the next day. You're going to sleep for like 2 days after your date with Elizabeth Hurley devil.
Gwendoline Christie's devil is kind of, I think, the most similar to me in that she's a bit like imperial and just very like everything is beneath. Yes.
I'm better than you.
She is the judgiest of the devils.
I'm going to marry her.
She's
I'm not
judging.
gonna lie. I think I'm going to marry her.
She is.
I couldn't live under that scrutiny.
But you know what? I'm assuming that we're going to be judging together.
Yeah.
Not that she's judging me. I think we're going to go out and we're going to be that couple in the corner that's just like,
Yes. The side eye, the side eye game and the face game.
Yeah. Oh, she's one
the
of
face
those.
on that face.
She gives me the impression that she's one of those like Meryl Streep in A Devil Wears Prada, where she can just do that thing where she looks you up and down and she's like, "Thank you." That's
Exactly.
all. And you're like,
Exactly.
"Oh God, okay."
Shit. Like, oh no.
And Tom Ellis, I can't, because one, he's just too involved with people all the time. He's with people.
Say cops.
He's
You're
a cop.
allowed. You're allowed. You can say it.
Exactly.
It's our podcast. We can say what the fuck we want. Yeah.
That's true.
I don't, it's a lot. And why are you're an immortal. Like, why are you spending your time solving crimes? Like,
It's like cooler things to do.
yeah,
I don't know.
he's
Solving
hot.
crime seems like fun.
It does, but not
Working with the.
In fairness, I only saw the first half of the first season.
Oh.
So I don't know where it goes from there. The first half of the first season, I was like, I don't want to be, why are you hanging out with these people? Like, they seem like they're not even like fun cops.
I as well gave up on this show very quickly because I was like, this is stupid. But Chris wanted to watch it. So I was like, all right, fine. It'll be a good
I hear it gets
bedtime
better.
show. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Lucifer is fun. The character is fun.
And he's hot.
And his character is, he doesn't take anything too seriously, but what he does take seriously is important to him.
Solving crimes.
Justice is important to him.
Okay.
And that
It's kinda hot.
I
That
can get
is
behind
hot.
that. I can get behind that.
I love that. And to me, that's why I'm going to marry Lucifer, because I think I love that justice orientation. It's not about just the finding the criminals or whatever and like the detectiveness of it. It's the justice.
It's the fairness.
It's fairness and justice. And I'm like,
I do appreciate
I can
that.
get behind that.
Yeah, I do
shit
love
for
that.
real. And he's got a club. I mean, his
So does
digs-
Elizabeth Hurley. They both have clubs.
I know.
Yeah.
I dig his.
Well, so does Gwendoline Christie someday.
Oh.
We just haven't gotten there yet. Because Gwendoline Christie is actually Tom Ellis's origin story. Because they told you.
Oh, that's right. Lucifer
quits
is
and opens a club in LA. So, yeah.
right.
Wow,
Oh,
the-
so they technically are the same character.
Correct.
That's right.
The
But
devil
they're
owning a
just
club
very
thing is-
different. They took Lucifer in a very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, the devil owning a club is very.
I guess. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Come on.
I'm here for it.
But I'm definitely going to fuck Elizabeth Hurley. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
She's the hottest. I mean, you picked her right out of my mouth. I was like, oh, you stole her.
Yeah, I had to jump on
I
that
was
real
like,
quick.
Yeah.
I have to marry Gwendoline Christie.
Yeah.
I really do. It's just,
I can see this.
She is her portrayal is very just red wine snark,
Yeah.
and I live for that.
Yeah. That's
We've
very
talked
perfect.
Our phrase of the week, I guess, has been serving cunt. And
Oh yeah. Yes, exactly. I want a corner booth with Gwendoline Christie devil, and we're just gonna serve cunt in the corner.
Exactly.
The whole time, just everybody who comes in, you're just like, I can't believe it.
And where Elizabeth Hurley would like actively fuck with those people.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Where you're just talking shit.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Gwendoline
just talking
Christie.
shit in the corner.
No,
yeah.
Elizabeth Hurley's gonna get you arrested.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't need that energy in my
No.
life.
Just-
Like, I'm
we're
like,
just
I can't.
observing.
Yeah. She is pure chaos, which
Yeah.
would be fun for one night.
Yeah,
One
and-
night of just like you absolute debauchery, and then you wake up, you fucking
Ooh, shake it off.
shake it off, and you don't ever talk about it
Ever.
again.
But I'm gonna fuck Tom Ellis.
Yeah.
I think, because that whole like right and wrong, I'm like, do all the wrong right now.
Yeah. And he
Like,
is
ooh.
Mr. Mix and Match on the bedroom.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
pansexual. I
Yep.
love the
True,
idea.
yeah.
We just talked kink camp with our good friend Kelly at Boobies and Newbies. So we did talk a little. And so, yeah, no, he's definitely into like all of the above. And
Yes.
I really dig that. Strong.
Solid, strong decisions. I think you can't really. These are three hot people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we gonna know?
That was a good
Love
one.
that. Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
Sounds good.
And we're back. Okay, I will kick us off with stories. This one was sent to us by a listener. And it says, hello to the fabulous ladies of my favorite podcast. I discovered your podcast a few months ago, and I've been binging all your episodes ever since. I've also recently become a patron. I love having your now familiar voices accompany me on my commute during various chores before bed and at various times throughout the day.
Oh, yay.
I thought I'd send you one of my date stories. I was married for almost 20 years and have been divorced now for 4 years. During these last few years, as a 40-something woman, I've discovered the sexual liberation and delights of hooking up with younger men.
Hell yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Out of this has come many hot stories, but also some that are bizarre and or hilarious. And here is just one of them. So I matched with a 25-year-old on Bumble, we'll call him Dan, and soon enough we were meeting for a beer at the very cheesy 1980s pub just up the street from my house. He was tall, dark-haired, and nerdy hot with broad shoulders, and from what I could tell, a great body. He was in the last year of his bachelor's degree in math, and I'm a professor at one of the local universities, so we had a good chat about college life. Things were going well, tension was building, and I invited him back to my place.
I feel like I would read 10 out of 10 would read this romance novel.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Calling
I'm
Kelly
hooked.
right now. This is Kelly's next book.
Oh my gosh, the role playing you could do. Ooh.
At my place, we wasted no time going up to my bedroom and making out. He was passionate and giving, had a smokin' bod, and made worshipful comments about my curves. So far, so great, right?
This is a great romance novel.
Yeah, I'm in it.
Well, it gives the vibe. Here we go. Okay. Soon, he was fucking me deliciously in doggy. Mid-thrust, he stopped. Wait a minute, he exclaimed. Surprised, I turned my head and said, "What? What happened?"
Oh no.
He then went back to fucking me. You're a professor, he said, not
no.
skipping a thrusting beat.
No, not now. Not now.
Yeah, I mumbled, my head pressed down on the bed sheets, ass in the air.
Oh.
Dan then flipped me over and started fucking me missionary. It felt amazing, but I couldn't dwell in the pleasure for too long. Could you just thrust, help me, ball slapping, apply for deep breathing, grad school?
Oh
Time and a place. God.
Yes. All of that was said by him while he pounded me hard all the while. I said, my voice shuddering with his movements. Could we just finish here first? Yeah, he said quickly, but then continued, I'm doing some original research on thrust, tangential equations, pound, but I only have huff, puff, one good faculty reference, so... He stopped talking for a few seconds as he moaned and came. By this point, I had lost any semblance of a sexy time mood.
Yeah.
And was honestly just trying not to laugh.
Way to ruin it, bruh.
I'm worried I won't be accepted, he finished, collapsing on top of me.
Oh my God.
A few seconds later, he whispered sultrily in my ear, so will you help me? I found the whole thing quite amusing, so I agreed. We put our clothes on, made a pot of coffee, and sat together at my computer while we put together a slam in applications for a master's in math for Dan.
Oh my God.
Go Dan.
He was actually very grateful and adorable about it. We hooked up again a few more times, and 3 months later, Dan texted me to say he got into grad school.
Aw.
Maybe not the worst date story ever, but I thought it might give you ladies a laugh. I hope you enjoyed. I'm so happy to be a worstie. Love to you all. XOXO.
Oh my God. I love that.
The way it was written was perfect. It's just like
Priceless.
it really painted a picture.
Help me.
Oh wait.
Get into grad school. One thing at a time, Dan.
Literally, like it just occurred to you. We just spent all this time at the bar talking.
You could have
Or just
literally
wait
anytime.
until after.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
How are you? I don't like. My head would be so out of it. I mean, obviously hers was, but I'm like, how is he even 25-year-old
He's able
boy? I'm
to.
assuming. Yeah.
yeah, no, there's no way I could do those two things at the same time. But mine's a listener story as well. She says, "Hi, ladies. I've been listening to you all for so many years. I figured it was time to finally write in. But first, I want to say a huge thank you for making me feel less alone as I experience the absolute chaos that is online dating. Absolutely. And for all the laughs that kept me awake while driving Hell is Real, Columbus to Cincinnati.
Yes. Oh my God. We know that drive.
71 South. You are my favorite podcast, and I'm so thankful for you ladies. Anyway, this date requires a little bit of a rewind into the early 2010s. I was in undergrad. Got a college theme going on. A few months out of my first long-term relationship and finally ready to date again. I had no idea how to start meeting people, so my friend suggested this new app called Tinder.
Early. Yeah. Everyone's dressed business casual.
Yes.
You know,
But when Tinder used to have LinkedIn vibes.
yeah.
He helped me set up a profile and we had a bit of fun swiping, and then he sent me on my merry way. Soon enough, I had matched with a guy who didn't give off too many axe murdery vibes, and I, naive fool, had him pick me up from my apartment to drive us to ComFest.
Yes.
A Columbus local music and arts festival. Oh my God.
Wow.
I was probably there with you. I went to like every single one.
Exactly.
A short drive later, and we arrive and head into the festival where there are tons of booths. The first one I headed to was a lemonade stand that only took cash. My date, unprompted, supplied that he only had a card, so he couldn't buy my lemonade. I wasn't asking him to.
Thanks, sir.
Doesn't matter to me, but the info's important for like 3 minutes later. As we meander into the festival, a hawker came up and practically shoved a rose into my hands.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Well, you've been there.
Yeah, for
Being
anyone
forced.
unfamiliar, this guy's business model is to hand one person in a supposed couple a rose and then guilt the other to pay for it. And that's precisely what this guy tried on us. He started hyping my date up, getting him progressively more excited. Soon, call and answer style, they're going, "Are you having fun at this festival?" "Yeah, it's great here." "Do you love Columbus?" "Yeah, I love Columbus."
Yeah, I love Columbus.
So I zone out a little at this point, and then I hear, "Do you love Jesus?"
Whoa.
"Yeah, I love
Right.
Jesus." "Do you love your mom?" "Yeah, I love my mom." "Do you love her?" The man pointed emphatically at me, and my date responds,
no.
"Yeah, I love her." Fantastic. That'll be $2 for the rose.
Oh my!
I feel like that man has earned that $2. That's a lot. That's
is
a lot to
lot.
make a $2
Oh my
sale. I'm just saying, like,
This was no more than 20 minutes, including the drive and some awkward small talk into my first Tinder date. And I already had a confession of love.
Wow.
Yeah.
I found this so hilarious that as my date's face slowly drained while he realized what he had said, and as the hawker got increasingly annoyed that my date didn't have cash, I just pulled out the $2 myself. The rest of the date wasn't memorable, but I dried that rose and kept it for years as a reminder of the hilarity of that moment.
That's so funny.
Since then, I've been on a number of other Tinder dates, but I've never had a confession of love so early into the
Wow.
date again. Yeah, God.
Jesus.
You love Columbus? Yeah, I love Columbus.
Oh,
I'm like, get
man.
that shit out of here.
It was a simpler time.
It was a simpler time. Oh, ComFest, man.
Oh man,
That was the
So
first
much
time
fun.
I remember being blown away because, like, Columbus is a city, yeah, but it's not like a big city. And it's also, like, Ohio is just very, very conservative. So I remember seeing, like, titties out at ComFest being
God,
like,
yeah. Really?
so, like, amazed. I was like, oh my gosh, this is
But you
great.
grew up in Columbus. It's not like you
I
didn't.
did, but I went to parochial schools, and
Oh.
I was,
Oh,
you know
got
what
it.
I mean? Like, I was in that system where it was like, you know, around Clintonville, very like conservative,
Yeah.
and that sort of
I
thing.
spent a lot of time on campus. And like my mom worked on campus, so even when I was younger, I had to experience a lot of like weird scenarios like early on. But yeah, but Columbus is one of those cities that like anywhere a man can go topless, a woman can go topless.
Yeah.
So like, you know, if they have a no shoes, no shirt, no service type of situation, you got to put a shirt on. But you can walk around, you can walk down the street, you can be in the park, you can
But
go anywhere.
do people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, mostly during ComFest and mostly during Pride.
Yeah,
I
I was
worked
just
I
gonna
worked in the
say,
Short
like-
North, so I worked in the Short North right by Goodale Park, which is where the
Right.
And so you would see people out in the park.
You've got like,
I mean, it wasn't like a
square
nudist
footage
colony.
area
Right.
where it is progressive, and it's like the heart of the city and like campus, short north, that sort of thing, where I'd be like, okay, like I feel safe with my brother being here, for instance, you know, and then
'cause it's
as you
still
get
Ohio.
out into the suburbs and like, you know, Westerville, Dublin, Worthington, things get progressively more
and more. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's literally like this tiny little dot that is okay.
The downtown. The
yeah.
downtown area. Yeah. And where I worked was in the short north, like Italian Village, short north area. And so,
but I loved Comfest.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it was like, oh, this is great.
Hell
this makes
yeah.
you feel like, you know, I'm living in a cool city.
yeah. It was a vibe for sure. But yeah. Oh, and Pride. Oh my God.
Pride was always fun. Yeah.
Oh my God. So much fun. Yeah. Anyway. So, all right. I have a story to tell. Hold on one second. Sorry.
No, you're
I got
good.
really excited about Comfest. All right. So this comes in and it says, I'm going to answer this on behalf of my wife, who is no longer on this app. I was on, it was our second date. And as she tells it, she was a bit nervous and really liked this dashingly handsome, incredibly charismatic guy. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. She really wanted him to like her too. Being that I was a bachelor with a little responsibility outside of myself.
I was like, a little respectability. Okay. I mean,
all right.
A little responsibility outside of myself. I drank a lot. My fridge was a stereotypical single guy fridge, some condiments, enough food so I wouldn't starve, and lots of beer.
How there's like one pickle. In
yeah.
it.
It's been floating there for like a minute. Yeah. Maybe like half a box of like pizza from Pizza Hut. Cold.
That's not in the fridge. That's on the counter. He's got like ketchup. She lived in her parents' basement. I know, what a nerd, right?
Oh.
And working long hours, she didn't drink much during that part of her life. I think we can all see where this is going. Our second date was at my house because I wanted to impress her too. She has a culinary degree, and I figured I could really impress her for some of my amazing food.
It's like mac and cheese and hot dogs. Coming right up.
I went to the store and picked up some real food and, of course, more beer. After we ate, we went out into my backyard and made a bonfire so we could sit and talk. And I was just drinking like I normally did. My alcohol tolerance was pretty damn high, so I was throwing them back. And she in her nervousness tried to keep up with me.
Oh, no.
Sweetie.
Really, really bad idea. Incident 1. Have you ever been sitting for a long time while drinking and not really realizing how drunk you were?
And then you stand up. We've all had that
She
moment.
definitely has.
We have all had that moment where you're like, oh, I'm having a good time. Everything feels right. And then you go to the bathroom. That's always where it used to hit me. It was like you feel fine until you get into the bathroom, and then you like see yourself
and you're like
in the bathroom. And you're like, whoa, no.
That's no good. At some point during the evening, she got up to go to the bathroom.
That's always the case.
Well, she tried to get up and go to the bathroom. It was more like half stand up, realizing her sense of balance was way off, getting tangled up in the legs of the chair and face planting into the lawn.
Oh, baby. Oh, no. And I can totally empathize with her, too, because it's like you are in a situation that's a little uncomfortable,
We're
right?
Going camping soon. I see this scenario happening for sure.
God.
100.
Especially because we're not drinking right now.
I'm taking a break from drinking, so we'll see. We will see.
Again, as she tells it, she was sure that this handsome devil was just going to laugh at her and call her a lightweight. Lucky for her, I did like her a lot and just wanted to make sure she was okay.
Yeah, can I say it would be a huge dick move if you laughed at her and called her a lightweight when she got hurt because she was trying to keep up with you?
Yeah, right.
No.
We laugh about it now, but she was quite embarrassed at the time. Incident 2.
Oh, God.
She wisely had decided to cool it on the drinking after that. I got her some water and reassured her that it was fine. We all have clumsy moments when we're drunk. I got her some water and we continued the conversation. She seemed to be doing much better after an hour or so, and we were getting along great. Her tumble wasn't quite the disaster she thought it would be. Then, quite suddenly, her face went absolutely serious, and I could see the look of fear in her eyes. Something was horribly wrong.
Uh-oh.
She excused herself to go to the bathroom again. But again, didn't make it that far.
Oh, God.
About 2 steps into her walk toward the house, she doubled over and vomited all over my lawn.
Baby.
Oh, God. Before I could even react, she was on all fours, horribly retching and spewing puke like that girl from The Exorcist.
Oh, no.
I'd not have been surprised at all if her head spun a few times at that point.
No.
Oh my God. I
That's
know that
worst
feeling.
on a
Getting
date with
someone you like. Yeah, yeah.
Just get too drunk.
At that point,
That
you're
quick drunk.
packing it in. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to call somebody to come pick me up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to have wasted your time, good sir.
chalk this one up as a loss.
I won't expect a phone call from you. So
After she seemed to be done expelling every last drop of water and beer from her guts,
Poor thing.
I helped her inside into the bathroom. I got her some clean clothes and a towel so she could take a shower. The entire time she's apologizing to me. As she tells it, she was crying in the shower because she was so convinced that she had blown it with this really, really ridiculously good-looking guy.
Okay. All right, buddy. Pump the brakes.
Oh man, I'm sure she was just trying to stay alive at that point. As anyone
Yeah,
that's
she's so
done that.
dehydrated.
Yes.
Like, ugh.
Like fucking get this chick a Pedialyte and some fucking aspirin or something.
She got cleaned up, drank some more water, then went to sleep not long after that. She was gone by the time I woke up in the morning.
I bet.
Embarrassed as hell and certain that she had turned me off so much I'd never want to speak to her again. Lucky for both of us, she was wrong. I texted to make sure she was okay and told her I was holding her dirty clothes for ransom. If she ever wanted to see them again, we'd have to have another date. This time, however, there was much less drinking.
Yes. Yeah, honey. Oh my God. I mean, it's so relatable.
Yes,
Yeah.
Everybody's
exactly.
been in that situation, especially if you're trying to keep up with people, you know, because you're nervous and you're like, oh, this, you know, I feel fine
This
until
is
you
fine.
don't.
Yeah. That was my white pants story that I told you guys where I might have murdered somebody.
Yeah.
God. Oh my
Woke
God.
up covered in blood after having taken like 18 tequila shots. You're
Yeah.
like, oh no.
What has happened?
So what happened last night, guys? Anybody die?
Yeah, you're like, I'm covered in mud and blood. I feel like
I feel like there should be a story here.
everybody's like, shh, nobody tell her.
Anybody
Nobody
want to
tell
fill me in? So
No, I don't know what you're talking
Like, did
about.
anybody see Steven again after that? No, I never got a call
Stephen
from
who?
him.
I don't even know who you're talking about. Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
That's good.
Your challenge, if you choose to accept it, is this.
Let's go! Let's go!
Show up on day 1, work out with us for 30 minutes, feel good right away.
Yo!
Repeat 5 days a week for 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
5 workouts a week.
We're a body, and we call that a body block.
You pick the block and you're going to love the experience.
On week 4, this part is really important. Take the week off. Seriously, we mean it. Rest, go on vacation, or try something new. Maybe some yoga,
Notice you're not holding on to any tension here.
or a dance class.
Get sexy with it, daddy.
You do you. And then start again.
Be committed to this process.
Choose a new body block each month. Get a new challenge each month. Have fun every day. Avoid burnout.
You're not gonna quit on yourself today.
This is how you reach your goals. You in?
There is nothing that we can't do if we work together.
Sign up for your first body block today. Visit body.com for a free trial. That's BODI.com.
Are you ready to get started?
And we're back. Okay. Oh, sorry.
No.
I think this was
I wasn't-
Cassie's turn
no,
to do
and
that.
I did look like I was
You
looking
did.
like,
You did. I was like, I felt it coming from over here, and I was like,
I was
oh,
actually
no.
just my curious face, like, where are we going?
I'm
I'm excited.
interested.
Yeah.
So, like we talked about last week with Christina's, it's tough whenever it's a themed month.
Yeah.
There's this pressure to like stick on theme. And this was never an official thing that we ever said. Like we were never like October has to be this type of thing, but it's just something that kind of naturally happened throughout the years of the podcast. And now I'm like, okay, we have to try and find something that works. So I did. And I'm going to be talking about the Harlow-Bern House. It's a little different than what we would normally do for a Tainted Love, but I think it still applies. So Jean Harlow, the actress,
Yes.
was born Harleen Harlow Carpenter on March 3rd. Pisces, I put in a parenthetical.
Harleen Harlow.
Carpenter.
That's too much.
It's a lot. Yeah. Harleen is a very like,
Harleen.
That's a vibe.
it's a,
Harleen.
and she was born in Kansas City, Missouri, which I'm like, a Harleen from Missouri makes sense. March 3rd, 1911, and she was born to a working class family. Harleen was very close to her mother, Jean Carpenter, and stuck by her side when her parents divorced in 1922. The following year, Jean, the mom, I know it's confusing because...
Yes.
But moved to Los Angeles with her 12-year-old daughter in hopes of becoming an actress. When she was told that she was too old to start a film career.
Oh, she's like, now my daughter will live my dreams.
You have to do this for me.
And take my name.
Yeah. I mean, and she wasn't even that old, but even now, trying to start an acting career when you're over the age of like 25 is hard. So back then,
unless you're related to somebody,
unless you're a nepo baby, in which case,
start it anytime you fucking want to.
Anytime you feel like it, you know. Yeah. So she enrolled her daughter Harleen into the Hollywood School for Girls in hopes that she would follow in her footsteps. Though Harleen would drop out at the age of 14, she did make good connections at the school, meeting several people, including Douglas Fairbanks Jr., who would go on to have thriving acting and producing careers. Around the time she dropped out of school, she met a 19-year-old named Charles Chuck Fremont McGrew III.
Whoa.
Wow. That is
more names, more money.
Yes. And he was quite wealthy. Yeah. And the third, which you're like, yeah. Okay.
That's 3 generations of wealth.
Yeah. And the two married when she was 16 and he was 20.
Don't love that.
Don't love it. Yeah. Because
don't love that.
It was like the 30s, though.
Not even. It was 1920 something. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, then 2016, that's not the worst I've heard from that time period.
Yeah. And they met, when she was like...
Teenagers had just been invented. Because
that's true.
Teenage wasn't a thing before World War I.
That's right.
Yeah, and they met when she was 14 and he was 18, which isn't great, but I mean, that's honestly, it's like we all went to school with people who were seniors who dated freshmen. So that's kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So... Not long after their wedding, Harleen was accompanying a friend who happened to be a young aspiring actress to an appointment at Fox Studios. There, she was approached by an executive who tried to recruit her to Central Casting. Can we just pause for a second?
Yeah.
Because these stories
just gave us so many...
gave us so much hope, and they are rampant, where it's just like... you told the one of Thelma, the ice cream blonde, where they're just like walked into her shop and they were like, say,
you want a career in the pictures?
Yeah.
What's the girl from Knight's Tale?
Shannon Sossman.
Shannon Sossman. Like the story was that she was at like a video arcade and like,
yeah.
She was DJing a party.
Yeah.
She was DJing a party of a friend.
And it truly gives you this weird hope. And it also sets you up for so much, like, it makes you a very easy target. Because I remember when I first moved to LA, there were people, I remember distinctly one time I was sitting at a restaurant by myself waiting for my boyfriend to get off of work. And a guy who's older, he like came over and he like gave me his card, right? And he did that whole like... I really like your look, like, and to this day, I don't know if he was legitimate or not. I never called him, but because that kind of thing can happen. But
you still have his card. Let's look up his name. Check IMDb.
I wish I did. I wish I still had his card. Right. I don't, but I didn't call him. But it's because that could be a predator. Like you don't know. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, not the case here. So she was approached by someone trying to recruit her to Central Casting. At first, she was uninterested, but when her friend bet that she wouldn't have the nerve to audition, she, unwilling to lose a wager, called up the office and soon signed to Central Casting under her mother's maiden name, Jean Harlow. So her mother, Jean Carpenter, her last name was Harlow. So she just took her mom's name, basically. Her career was slow moving.
And her mom's dream.
Yeah, and her dream. No. But they did remain really close. Yeah. Her career was slow moving at first with low paying extra gigs and then some small bit parts. But soon her career began to take off and she signed a 5-year contract with Hal Roach Studios. But the attention put pressure on her marriage. And when she told Hal Roach that her husband didn't like her acting or the attention she was getting, he ripped up her contract. He was just like, oh, well, your husband doesn't like it? Well...
I thought he was going to be like, well, get rid of the husband.
Yeah, seriously.
I did too.
Mm-hmm. Although I don't know if he ripped up the contract because out of respect for her husband or because he was like...
I don't have to deal with this
shit. I don't want to have to deal with it. Yeah. It didn't matter much, though, as the couple separated and then divorced the next year in 1929. After the divorce, Jean's career began to pick up speed, landing a speaking role in the Clara Bow film The Saturday Night Kid that same year before her breakout starring role in Howard Hughes's Hell's Angels the following year. During the filming for Hell's Angels, Jean met MGM executive Paul Bern. Paul Bern was 22 years her senior. He was a German-born film director, screenwriter, and producer, and seemed to be the first person at MGM who saw real acting potential in Jean, whereas previously she'd been kind of used as this like sex symbol, kind of bimbo blonde type. Though Jean would sign a 5-year contract with Hughes rather than MGM, Paul became instrumental in advancing Jean's career, arranging personal appearances for the actress to grow her already massive popularity. So he actually she was signed to a different studio, but he took such an interest in her that he was like, I'm going to help manage your career basically, and like set up like live performances where she would perform in front of audiences and actually like sold out venues, you know, to perform in front of audiences. And even arranged to borrow Jean from Hughes for MGM projects, which was not something that really happened a lot back then because the studio kind of like owned you.
Yeah.
So you had to pay if you wanted to use an actress from another studio. By early 1932, the two were a couple and both agreed that it would be better if Jean left Hughes for MGM. Louis B. Mayer, who was the bigwig at MGM at the time, initially refused, saying that Jean's on-screen persona was not elegant enough to be an MGM leading lady.
Oh my God.
She's too hot, she's too sexy, she's too sultry. The leading ladies at the time were supposed to be these like glamorous, elegant, women. But Paul urged his close friend and MGM production head to sign Harlow, and they purchased a contract for $30,000 from Howard Hughes, which is a huge sum of money. I mean, you're talking $30,000 in 1932.
Wow.
Which is a lot of money to get Jean Harlow. I mention all of this background to say that the two were a real like powerhouse couple. They worked really, really well together. They were engaged in June 1932 and married on July 2nd, 1932. She was 21, he was 42. After marrying, the couple settled into a craftsman-style house on Benedict Canyon in the Hollywood Hills.
Oh, nice.
And from the outside, the house looks like something from a European fairy tale. It's like stone pathways. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. It's probably one of those that has one of those long driveways, but we've definitely driven past where it is, even if we couldn't see it. But it's one of those houses that has like the honeycomb glass and like a turret. It's really beautiful. Yeah. Though I was able to locate one source that said that Paul may have been abusive towards Jean, it certainly wouldn't have been surprising given the like how they met, the power dynamics at play in their relationship, the age difference, etc. I wasn't able to corroborate that with any other sources though, which I really feel like if there was a lot of evidence to suggest that, it would be
in all the sources. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. True, some people weren't sure what Jean saw in Paul. She was young and one of the biggest film stars in the world at the time, and Paul was older and considered both plain and serious.
Aww.
Paul was also said to have carried on an affair with his secretary, Irene Harrison, during his relationship with Jean.
Again, the cheating has nothing to do with like how hot you are. The hottest women still get cheated.
One of the biggest stars at the time and considered, I mean, she was a sex symbol. She was like Marilyn Monroe before Marilyn Monroe, that like platinum blonde kind of persona.
Have you guys watched Blonde on Netflix?
No, and I have no interest.
I'm not going to.
No
I've heard
desire.
it's terrible.
Yeah, I've also, and I got like a 15-minute standing O, and I'm like, oh,
get
stop.
real.
Yeah. Anyway, so it was said that he carried on an affair with his secretary during his relationship with Jean and was still in contact with his long-term partner, Dorothy Millette, who he had first started dating in 1911. Still, there's not much known about the relationship between Paul and Jean to determine whether or not theirs was a happy or even a real marriage or not.
Oh, interesting. So maybe it's just one of convenience.
Right. So there's a lot of speculation and we can get into some of that. But what we do know is that 2 months after their marriage, Paul was found dead in their home. He had suffered a gunshot wound to the temple standing in front of the couple's full-length mirror in their bathroom. His body was discovered by a member of their staff who, instead of calling the police, called MGM, who immediately sent people over who combed through the scene for more than 2 hours before the police were called.
Fucked up.
Yeah,
Dude,
called
that
the
shit
studio.
Yes. So many crimes from that era. You gonna call the boss man
Gotta
first.
get the fixers in there for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oof.
When police did arrive, they found Paul with a .38 caliber revolver in his hand and a note that read, "Dearest dear, unfortunately, this is the only way to make good the frightful wrong I have done you and to wipe out my abject humiliation. I love you, Paul. P.S. You understand that last night was only a comedy."
Yoinks.
Jean's only statement to the public and the police was that she knew nothing. At the coroner's inquest, Paul's friends testified that he had been plagued with depression all his adult life and that his marriage to one of Hollywood's hottest actresses took its toll on his mental health, which feels very blamey.
Yeah, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
if you weren't so hot.
Yeah, you're too hot. You're too young and hot. Yeah.
Should have never married you.
And MGM's PR team began to spread a rumor that Paul may have been, quote, unfit for marriage, an attempt to cast blame away from Jean. And I don't know if they're
Jesus.
trying to, because it sounds like that could imply many things. It could imply that he's gay. Later on, and I'll bring this up later, there was kind of this talk that maybe he was impotent and like that's what it was.
But he was having an affair with his
With two other
secretary.
people.
Yeah.
Given this testimony and the signed suicide note, the coroner ruled his death a suicide. Not case closed, though.
You don't say.
Yeah. I've got questions.
I got a few things on my
Feels thin.
Yeah.
The day after his death, Paul's former long-term partner, Dorothy Millette, booked a stateroom on the Delta King riverboat. A waiter remembered seeing her at dinner, and at 2:30 in the next morning, a man witnessed her sitting on the top deck and crying. 2 hours later, a night watchman found her coat and shoes on the deck, and she did not disembark the next day.
Oh, wow.
After the apparent suicides of both Paul Bern and Dorothy Millette, police began to do some digging. What they found through Paul's insurance advisor was that the two had been secretly married, Dorothy Millette and Paul Bern.
Oh, no.
Or at least that's what he believed to be the case when Paul had drawn up a will for Dorothy. When reporters tracked down Paul Bern's sister, she seemed to corroborate the story, saying that Paul and Dorothy met in 1911 in Toronto when both of them were working as actors in a company. The two married and moved to New York City. Dorothy, who suffered mental health issues, moved into a sanatorium. Moved into is the language that was used, but I'm like, that seems sus. I don't think she chose that. I mean,
well, maybe you could.
Yeah,
back in that day, none of the three of us have been alive since there
True.
have been robust mental health
Sanatorium.
care.
yeah, you could just check yourself in. You're like, I just need a break.
Yeah,
honestly, that sounds nice.
I know,
I'm like,
right?
I'm tired. Can someone just take care of me for a minute?
Come in and play checkers. For
Yeah.
a minute, please. I need a little break.
Little
But
nap.
while she was checked into the sanatorium, Paul left for California. So
Checked
he's
in
like,
does
"Bye,"
again. It
right?
sounds like
it implies that like
it's like
she's-
hotel.
It's a hotel. Still, the two seemed to remain close, at least keeping in close communication. He financially supported her both during her time in the sanatorium and after she left and moved into a New York hotel. So she moved into a hotel after leaving the sanatorium, and he continued to pay like her hotel bills and stuff like that. He sent her a monthly stipend of $350, which is over
That's a lot.
$5,000 in today's money every month, which is
That's a
good
lot.
chunk of money. Yeah. This was until the time of his death, and wrote her often. They both wrote each other often. Paul even provided Dorothy with MGM stationery. So she would write her letters to him on MGM stationery that he provided to her.
Yeah.
Letters were found between the two right up until his death. In one of them, he offered to fund her upcoming trip to San Francisco. A week after she went missing from the riverboat, the body of Dorothy Millette was found floating in the Sacramento River. It doesn't appear as though Paul ever divorced Dorothy, and it's unclear how much Jean knew about their relationship.
God,
Why did he
so
marry Jean
bizarre.
Harlow then?
See, I
it's
feel
just
like-
weird.
Is this studio set up or?
I mean, that could be the case. Like, that kind of thing happened often. And there are definitely some friends of his that would imply that maybe he was gay or something like that. And like his relationship with Dorothy Millette was
purely
more like a friendship type thing, which is why
like a beard.
Yeah, and that Jean Harlow was his beard, right? Because like he can't, like Dorothy's not going to be his public, like in public wife. You know, I don't know. When the press got a hold of the information, rumors swirled that Dorothy, spurned by Paul's marriage to Jean and him changing his beneficiary from her to Jean, which he did do, that she murdered Paul, fled to San Francisco, and then completed suicide the next day. Now, there's not any evidence. This story is so hard because there's not any evidence to really points to that.
Well,
but
you're
they
never going to
up.
know what they actually found.
Yeah,
they had
exactly.
2 hours of free range, so who knows what they took out or added. That
exactly.
note doesn't even make any sense.
None.
Yeah. In 1990, film producer Samuel Marks, a friend and MGM colleague of both Bern and Irving Thalberg, who was a close friend, basically like Paul Bern's best friend, he published a book giving a different version of Bern's death. Marks, at the time MGM story editor, head of the screenwriting department, said that he had gone to Bern's house in the early morning of September 5th, 1932, the day of his death, before the police were notified of the body's discovery, and had seen Thalberg tampering with evidence. The next day, he had been among the studio executives who were told by Louis B. Mayer that the case would have to be ruled, quote, suicide because of impotence. Wow. In order to avoid a scandal that would have damaged Harlow's career. And they paid a lot of money to get Jean Harlow, you know, so they were like not about to jeopardize any career that she could have.
They were only married for like a couple of months when this happened.
Yeah.
2 months, yeah. But there's also in a lot of the articles I read, there's a lot of talk of they didn't want to blow this to blow back on Jean like she wasn't a good wife. Like her husband killed himself because she was a bad wife.
Wow.
Like it's so like 1930s.
Yeah.
You know, Marks believed that Dorothy Millette had something to do with Paul's murder. He believed that.
Yeah.
Jean, who remarried just a year later, died just 5 years later at the age of 26 due to kidney failure.
A baby.
But wait, there is more. In 1963, the Harlow-Bern House was sold to none other than celebrity hairstylist Jay Sebring, who was then dating 20-year-old Sharon Tate. Sharon would stay with Jay in the Harlow-Bern house often during their 3-year relationship. During her time spent in the house, Sharon described experiencing an uneasy feeling of a strong, unseen presence. The house made her jumpy, and on more than one occasion, when she was left alone in the house, she would sleep with the lights on. In an interview Sharon gave with reporter Dick Kleiner, Sharon recalled an encounter that happened one night when she was staying there alone. According to the interview, she woke up in the middle of the night and saw a, quote, strange little man in her bedroom. She said that he did not notice her as he was intent on finding something within the room. Frightened, she ran out of the room and down the stairs where she saw a figure tied to the staircase with his or her throat slashed.
What?
The interview was not published until after her death, and the writer of the article went on to speculate that perhaps the encounter was actually a premonition and that Paul Bern was warning Sharon of what was to come for her and Jay.
Oh my God.
A few short years later. So I do want to say that it feels very salacious and predatory to me to speculate on that after the fact. Like her family was like, yes, the interview did happen and she did say, you know, that's what she thought, but they were like, we don't believe it was like a premonition or anything. We just think,
but still, it's a spooky ass encounter.
But it's a very spooky ass encounter.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course, both Sharon Tate and Jay Sebring, as well as Wojciech Frykowski, Abigail Folger, and Stephen Parent were murdered by members of the Manson family cult on August 8th, 1969. Although the current owner of the house, who bought the home from Jay Sebring's parents after his death in 1970, says that he and his wife have never had any paranormal experiences living there, the house remains an object of fascination. Not only did Bern and Sebring die unexpectedly, but their partners, Harlow and Tate, two actresses at the height of their fame, both died at the age of 26. Despite the owner claiming that nothing strange has happened in the house during his time there, it's still on many lists as one of the most haunted homes in the country.
Wow.
All right.
Dude, that is
Spooky Halloween.
Dude, that
Halloween.
I've never heard about that.
No, I didn't either. And I was like, man, I was doing searches because the thing I had.
26 and dying of kidney?
Yeah, and I
failure?
looked to see if it was linked to alcoholism or something. I
Yeah.
actually did look into that, and it's kind of unclear. I mean, I would be surprised if it wasn't linked to.
Well, they were also like supplied by the studios in those days of lots of uppers, lots of downers, like anything.
She ended up getting really sick on the set of Jean Harlow ended up getting really sick on the set of Sarasota, and she actually like passed out, and she had the flu. They took her to the hospital because she has influenza, and then she died in the hospital, and it was kidney failure. So
Wow.
yeah, at 26.
That feels very much like somebody being poisoned, but what
I
do
don't know. We'll never know because we don't know half the shady shit these
I'm sure.
these studios got up to.
Who is she married to at that time? Like, who was it?
I think she wasn't married because she got married again after Paul Byrne, but I
Right.
think they divorced after like a year.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't think she was ever, her first marriage, I think was the one that lasted the longest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's just 26 too.
baby.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a baby.
But for her and Sharon Tate to both die at 26, I think is one of those things that, people connect.
Wow. Spooky Halloween.
Yeah.
We got one more story. So
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, Kathy's like, oh no.
no.
Pressure.
Well, what are you guys watching this week?
I'm still rewatching Game of Thrones. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to catch up on reading. But that's also been a challenge. It's just been October.
Distractober.
Yeah. And it's also just like such a busy month for all three of us. So I'm going to bed early is what I'm doing. Just watching Great British Bake Off and Game of Thrones is it.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
The taco
Episode. I was just about to talk
so
about
angry
that.
about that. I'm so
Dude.
angry.
Did you watch it?
Yes.
Oh my God, dude. I was cracking up.
I was yelling at the screen. I was like, what is happening?
Those refried beans, first of all. Second of all, what in the world?
You know, it is one of those things like when you're on TikTok, the only time any of us ever feels patriotic is in the TikTok war between the Brits and the Americans. And they're always like making fun of us for not knowing shit. And I'm like, watch one episode of Great British Bake Off where they have to make something American. And it's like, what? The pie episode haunts my dreams. When they have to make
Watch the
American
tacos.
pies and you're like, what?
Did you watch the tacos?
I haven't yet.
Oh,
no.
yes.
But I believe you. I mean,
it's
also, can we talk about how hot that one guy is? The fucking nanny who works out twice a day?
Yes. Yeah.
What is his name? Can't remember. Wow.
Love watching him cook.
Watch him do what he do.
Hey.
Is it the Scottish one?
No.
There's two Scottish guys.
He's not
It's not the
Scottish.
Scottish.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm deep into spooky season, which is when I have agreed to let Eric show me scary movies. And
Oh, I did watch
Let
The Black
the devil
Phone.
in your house.
I did watch The Black Phone. It's a good horror movie.
okay, so last night I don't know how we got on it, but we were talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, and I've only seen the original and Freddy versus Jason. That's it.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, those aren't that scary because I was like, I don't feel like a super scary one tonight.
Right.
So he puts
Campy.
on Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Have you guys ever heard of this one?
Yes.
I've not seen it.
It's been a long time. Is it the one with the
The guy is the final girl, and it is so overtly homoerotic. It is so. I am like, wait, and they were like denying for years. They're like, no, it's not a gay movie, and now they're finally like, yeah, it's like it's definitely like.
so many horror movies are gay movies, like Undercover, where you're like, oh, okay.
But I was just like, how did this, like, this is a studio movie.
Yes.
I was just like, if you really want a great 80s fun horror movie, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, I definitely recommend. I had a fucking blasty blast watching that last night.
so
the
funny.
80s were just like the for slasher, like slasher movies were just like,
Dude,
oh,
they
incredible.
just did American Werewolf in Paris, and that's a sequel to American Werewolf in London,
Right.
Which, when I was a kid, was one of the fucking scariest movies I'd ever seen. Like, wet your bed shit. Like,
That's
I didn't,
so
but like, I
funny.
was like, that movie was scary as fuck. That transition, I just listened. They did it on How Did This Get Made? But American Werewolf in Paris was like, what? What in the fever dream? How is this a sequel to that movie? It doesn't even make sense.
So many horror movies feel like a fever dream. Like they really do. I love this time of year. This is my favorite shit.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to text you or keep a list of what Eric's subjecting me to this
Yeah,
season.
we late at night, whenever Anthony and I kind of like are like turn your brain off is like, we're like, you want to watch a scary movie? Like we're always like, you want to put a scary movie on? And we're always looking for ones that we haven't watched a million times. So I'm like,
it's not a scary movie, but it does deal with werewolves. Have you watched Wolf Like Me?
No, is it a show?
Oh my God, it's a show. It's really, really, really good.
All right,
I think you'd like it. It's
it.
Amy Adams and
Amy Adams,
or not Amy. Yeah, or is it Isla Fisher? I got those two mixed up. Sorry.
Yeah, well, they do look alike.
Thank you.
No, that sounds like I'm into it. I'm into vampires, werewolves.
Yeah,
I mean, as long as you're not one on a date.
Yeah,
please.
Right. It's Isla Fisher. Sorry,
Isla Fisher. Okay,
it's Isla Fisher and Josh Gad.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right,
And
I've seen the advertising.
It's on
for that.
Peacock, but it's so good.
Nice.
I really highly recommend it.
Nice.
It's good.
Well, hey, if you guys have something that we should watch, if you've got a bad story, if you want to buy tickets to our live show coming up really soon, October 28th at Dynasty Typewriter in Los Angeles, or you can buy tickets to live stream it from anywhere in the world.
I've got a banger for a Tainted Love for the live show.
There we go. So go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com, and we love you so much.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.